This is Your Book, Your Brand, Storytelling and Personal Branding. And I will just give a quick introduction to myself before we get started with the meat and potatoes of this. So I'm Emily Cleary. I'm a senior UX researcher. I currently have a contract with Edward Jones in finance investments. I have had contracts with and worked with Avis. I've taught for the University of Miami, University of Wisconsin-Madison. I've worked with Pininfarina. I've worked with several different companies. I like to try new things. And I was able to find my way in UX by starting as a designer, like freelancing and figuring things out, and then realizing that the research side was really more for me. So I moved into that. So I'm a researcher and strategist, UX educator and mentor, business owner. Cleary Co. is my LLC, and a speaker, right? So I like to do talks like this and help out the design community. I also speak at tech conferences and things of that nature. I have a master's degree in sociology, and you don't come out of a master's in sociology. It's like a liberal art. I kind of just did it because I wanted to get out of school. So I studied business in undergrad. I changed my major so many times, didn't know what I wanted to do because at heart, I'm a singer. Music is my first passion. I'm in bands and things like that. I have different accomplishments in music, but I just wanted to get out of school. I found sociology. I happened to be good at it. I understood the perspective, and I ended up getting a master's in it. But when you come out of school with a master's in sociology, you're not like, I'm going to be a sociologist. It's not really how it works. I didn't want to do social work, and that was a different major. It wasn't for me. I thought about law school. I didn't end up going that way, but I did end up finding UX, and I'm glad that I did that. I finished my UX certificate at Ironhack back in 2018. And other than music, I love wellness, health, going to the gym, all of that, fitness, things like that, eating well, and mangoes. I love mangoes. It's still mango season. I just had a giant one like the size of my head yesterday. It was great. All right, so some things that I'll cover today. So telling your story, how others tell their story, increasing brand value, and then your brand values impact. So I'll start with this before I get into my little anecdote. So your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So just keep that in mind. What is your brand, right? What people say about you when you're not in the room, by a man called Jeff Bezos. I think we all know who that is. Founder of Amazon, no longer with Amazon, but still making the big bucks off of that. All right, so telling your story. So when I was in college, I had a roommate, and her name was Shelby. And this is like my second year of college, I think. Yeah. And I thought Shelby was so super cool because she was young. We were, 18, 19 at the time. And she had all this cool stuff that she had already done in her life. And she had this really cool life plan. She, she wanted to do like teach for America or like international teaching so she could travel around. She had been to all these different countries, like doing like mission work, and also doing like teaching English, helping teach English. And she just had all this stuff that she had done at such a young age. And I was like, that is really so cool, Shelby. Like, I want to be like you when I grow up. But what I didn't realize is that I wanted to have a brand as well. So she kind of had this really cool story that became her brand. Like when she spoke about herself, these are the things that really made her stand out, especially at her age. And that's when I learned that, all right, this is her brand. And this is something that I wanted too. So let's get into it. So telling your story. You every day are writing the book of your life. And what's cool about that is that you can literally decide to change it at any time. Go to the next chapter, go to the next book, write the sequel, whatever you want to do, right? So you are the main character in the book of your life. So just start thinking about it. It's like, what's your story? So far, I know you all have a story. You have to be of a certain age in order to, be in Designlab and start taking these courses. So you definitely all have a story up until now. I want you to start thinking about that. I challenge you to maybe start writing that down. What are the key parts in your story that have made you who you are? What's the rest of the story that you want to write? This will help you start defining your brand and who you are, what your personal brand is. Humans love stories, right? From way, 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 way back. They teach us lessons, some things you can't learn in school, right? So you have like book smart and street smart. You've probably heard of this before. There's a lot of things that unfortunately we don't learn in school, at least here in the US. I can only like speak for the US from my own experience. I know some of you are not from the US or not in the US. And, we don't learn how to like balance a checkbook in school, although checks are kind of getting outdated, but like we don't learn about maybe how to purchase stocks in the stock market, maybe unless you're like an economics major in college. But in high school, we don't learn these things, right? Like the more required schooling up until high school. And there's just a lot of life lessons that you just don't learn in school. But through stories and through your grandparents, maybe like your family, you've probably learned a lot of things. We also love stories because we can empathize. So we learn to have compassion for others, right? We learn to understand other human beings through these stories, right? Because at the end of the day, we're just human beings. The CEO is the same as, the janitor. They're just humans with different experiences in life. And they allow us to connect because, again, we're just all humans anyway. That's it. Just one human talking to another. You can connect on something, right? You're both breathing air. You can connect on that. So those are just some of the reasons why we love stories, but let's kind of like, write a story together. Like I was saying, start to write your story, start to jot down some notes and see what you can start coming up with. I don't know that we have time to do this exercise right now. If I do, if we have time, I'll come back to it in the chat where we kind of all just start putting things in the chat and see what kind of story we can come up with, or you can start doing it right now. And I'll check the chat shortly and see what you come up with. So feel free to do that. But I want to get into kind of like this part here. So where do stories come from? Cave paintings, right? So this is in Bulgaria. This is 8,000 to 4,000 years old. One of the oldest cave paintings there are. And this is one of the first ways people used to communicate and tell stories, right? You see all these people. You see like someone with a bow and arrow. You see an animal here. So something's going on here that they're trying to communicate. And then from cave paintings, we moved on to hieroglyphics, right? They got more mature. The images got more clear. They're on a clearer kind of wall or like material here, right? This is in ancient Egypt. And from then we moved on to oral tradition, right? In a lot of native tribes and also in Asian cultures and like the Eastern cultures, excuse me. So this is, telling the stories of the sky, of spirituality, of the ancestors, all of these things. They were just passed down from the elder to the next person. Then we move into written languages, right? We have Latin, the basis of many, many languages. And then tech and media. So now we have stories like this, like the communication. We tell stories literally with emojis. So this is me texting myself on the right. It's a bit older, but this is how we speak now, it's how we communicate. You see stories everywhere. You see stories coming up on, and this is older news on the left-hand side, but you see stories coming up on your phone. I have an iPhone. That's what it looked like. You have them on all of these social media sites, right? Like TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, Threads, X. Stories are everywhere. It's how we communicate. And now videos are the way that we communicate mostly. I feel like it's the most popular form of media, in social media at least. So they're everywhere. And you can even see that these stories are even in the App Store. So it's just a solid way to communicate. And they are such a staple, right? This is what Snapchat used to look like. I haven't been on Snapchat in a really long time. But people look at your stories because they want to be tuned in. They want to know what's happening in your life. This is part of your personal brand, right? So now there's all this social media. You can start creating your personal brand on social media using stories, just using the same font, using the same kind of tone, kind of humor, use humor, using kind of staple faces or having a staple look. Like, for example, in music, Amy Winehouse, part of her personal brand was that big hair that she had. And she always had like winged eyeliner, very much a part of her story and her personal brand. So character. In your story, you are the main character, right? So as you start to write down your story, you are hopefully the protagonist, right? The main character. And character is the way someone thinks, feels, and behaves, someone's personality, what someone stands for, holds dear, their values, principles, and calling. Experience. So we're competent about our experiences, right? So if someone, or if you ask someone about something, ask them about themselves. They love to talk about themselves. We all love to talk about ourselves, and we know ourselves the best. No one is going to know us like we know us. And we can talk about our experiences, right? So this is part of my experience here. This is me on the left, and this is me on the right. So I grew up an obese child, heavily overweight up until I was like 21. I was 21 here on the left. And always singing, a singer. It was like a rock themed show, so I was dressed as that. And during this show, there was a dress rehearsal, and I had to do an outfit change backstage, and I couldn't catch my breath. I couldn't change my outfit in time. I had to actually run off the stage and like throw up, excuse me, for lack of better words, because I just couldn't catch my breath. I was so unhealthy and so just didn't care about my body. I was not in a good state. I had like serious depression. I had gotten out of a very bad relationship. I always felt kind of like trapped in my own body because I was always really, really like bullied a lot as a kid. I always tried to make up for that by accomplishing a lot of things, but that didn't help with my like health issues, right? And so as soon as my health issues started affecting what I loved most and what's most passionate about, which was music, I then finally made a change. So in 9 months, I lost like about 75, 80 pounds. Here on the right, I've gained some healthy weight and muscle back. This was like, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago now. So I've maintained it, and I've maintained my habit of being in the gym, eating mostly healthy, just putting my wellness first and like self-care and things like that. So on the left, this place that's unhealthy, like it's not a place where I would want to be anymore because it wasn't only physical, it was mental. And I will say that the weight loss, it was really mostly mental. The physical was just a byproduct, and it really helped me get through a lot of other things in my life. So this is kind of a key moment in my personal branding story, because I was able to develop this mindset that, you know, I could do things that were hard and put my mind to. Like something I recently started doing because I want to like start up a business and things like that is I started running, using like the Nike Run Club app. I don't like running. I don't love running, and it's really hot here, but I'm doing it because it's really challenging and I know I'll be able to grow that way. So challenge yourself to do something to grow, and then you will be able to write a new part of your story, right? So I'm going to check the chat real quick. All right. Anything? Yay. Hello from San Francisco. Okay. Awesome. So everything is still going well here in the chat. If you have any questions or any comments, please feel free to drop them at any point in time. Okay. Oh, we've got a lot of people in here now. Awesome. Cool. Thank you so much, Kinjal. I hope I said your name right. Appreciate that. All right. So shout out from San Fran. Thanks for sharing your story. Yeah, of course. Thanks for listening. I appreciate it. But I'm sharing that to inspire you all to think about what kind of pivots or really like hardships you've had in your life that you have chosen to take action on, or maybe what hardships you have right now that you haven't yet taken action on, but you want to. You can use those things as like a catalyst to start telling your story and creating that personal brand, right? So like I can use this post and put it on LinkedIn for my career and connect it to UX somehow. And create a really inspirational post and get more views and things like that. So it helps when you have things like this to share, because you never know who you're going to inspire. All right. So I see someone typing. Let me just see what's happening here, and then I will get back to the presentation. All right. I'll just go back to it. So let's continue. All right. So how others tell your story. Okay. So as I was doing this research on personal branding, I was reading a lot of different things, and I came up with these pillars of personal branding as far as I understood it and as far as my own life experience. So character, experience, and reputation, right? So we talked about character and experience. So you are the main person, you're branding yourself based on your experience, right? And you can change your story at any time. You can choose to share things that maybe you didn't think to share because of like shame or ego or things like that. I know we all like deal with those things. It's very human and natural for us to deal with those things. But those are the things that I feel often connect us the most with other human beings. Like, I don't know if you've ever watched any really inspiring TED Talks, or like there's Brene Brown has a talk on vulnerability that's really awesome, where she shares a lot of different things. And being vulnerable is scary. I mean, for me, it has been scary in my life, but it has also helped me a lot. Like, especially in music. I was very scared to share my original music for a long time, but I have recently made some accomplishments I never saw coming because of that. And I am just so grateful that I learned to like put the ego to the side of it. But now that we've talked about character and experience, let's go into reputation. So what is reputation? Anyone want to throw something in the chat? What is reputation? Thank you for normalizing this type of past that makes us more resilient and inspiring for others. Yeah, Denise, no problem. I'm glad it resonated with you. I think it's common for a lot of people. So put your health first. It's really important. I was actually reading an article before this started, and it was about like this nurse who worked in hospice. And one of the main things that people kind of say as they are finishing their life is, they wish they didn't work as much, and like cared about their health more and things like that. So like put your health first. It's really important. Because when you're healthy and you're feeling good is when you can help others and feel good and be good to others. All right. Reputation, what you're known for. Yes. How others see you. Yes. Okay. How seriously people take you personally or professionally. Yes. So like credibility as well. How others think of you and talk about you. Reputation could mean your identity or your values, the brand you build for yourself by actions or others, the sum of your overall experiences, how others perceive you. Maybe unfortunately that one unhinged thing you did once, if you slip up, yeah, it totally could be. You see people getting canceled like left and right for like one thing like that they've done in their lives, publicly, or maybe people on a not so public level. What mark you leave on them? Yeah, these are all great answers. All of these are true. So thank you for all those answers, y'all. Excuse me. So let's get into it. So personal branding is a story people tell about you when you're not in the room, right? We talked about that earlier. All you have in your life is your name and the reputation you garner. So you can have a great reputation, you can have a bad reputation. You can also change it, right? We're human beings. We can change, we can learn, we can grow, which is awesome. If you had maybe not a not so good reputation and then you decide to change it because you've grown a bit, great. So you can also change your reputation. So it's how other people conceive you, what people think of you and your personal brand. So yes, all of you were correct. So impression management. This is something that I learned while I was in studying sociology, and it's like a sociological term, and it means the effort to control or influence other people's perception. So the example that I like to give for impression management is social media, right? People often use social media as a happy highlight, right? So like the high points in your life. You don't see that many people showing the low points, which is so real. Like life is a wave. It's not all butterflies and unicorns. So this is normally what you see. Maybe you know people who are showing off on social media, but that's not actually their life. Maybe they have done strange things to get where they are, or they're actually really unhappy and they're just trying to boost their own egos by showing off the really good things. So, you can use impression management in many, many ways. But there's a saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression, right? No one really knows who said that, so that's why I have that there. And this is important to remember when you are in like professional situations, right? Especially. So let's like put it in terms of UX design. You are at or tech in general, like you're at a networking event. You can control the way that you come off to someone that you're networking with using impression management, right? I think it's important to not be too big in your ego. I think this comes off a little bit, I don't know, it might not come off great to many people. I think it's good to have humility and to be humble, and let people kind of find out who you are, or just start asking questions. And then you can say, oh, I've worked for these really big companies. So I think knowing how to come off is really important, and not like oversharing or undersharing. There's a balance. So you can kind of test this, right? And you can kind of test your reputation. Excuse me. All right. So how would people describe you when you're not in the room? How would people summarize you when referring you for a job? How would people remember your elevator pitch, right? And this is something that you can actually test out, right? You can ask friends, family members, other Designlab students. They don't even have to know you. Maybe they've just had a couple interactions with you. And you can see maybe how they would describe you based on, I don't know, your LinkedIn or something like that. But then you can also ask people who do know you, and see what they would say about you, professionally or personally. So I challenge you to research your reputation, especially if you're just building yourself up, starting to build your brand, and you don't really know, I guess, what your reputation is. Research it, right? You've done research before, I'm sure. This is something you can research. And I actually had someone, I've given this talk in the past, and I had someone do this reputation survey on LinkedIn. This was the only person I know that's done this, but I thought it was great. So she posted this, she made this survey, and she posted it on LinkedIn. And she wrote here, this survey is meant to create a concise summary of my brand and reputation. It's anonymous, so be honest as possible. How would you describe me to others? If you don't necessarily know me, what do you think I'm like? And what are some key words that come to mind when you think of me? Simple, right? Really simple. You're not asking too much. 3 questions, short. This is open-ended. You could also have like a more closed survey where you provide some options, but that might be a little bit biased because you're providing those options based on what you know about you. So I would say probably open-ended is a great way to go about this if you decide to do this. So this is just one way to research your reputation. You can also like just shoot a text to a couple friends, to a couple family members, asking those questions that I had in the previous slide. All right, so 82% of investors want the companies they invest in to have a strong brand. So just think about that. If you want someone to invest in you, you think of yourself as the strong brand, right? You are the company, you are the thing, the person that they are investing in. So if you have a strong brand, credibility, reputation, that story, good character, it's more likely that you will have someone invest in you. And what does that mean? Invest in you? It could mean, I don't know, a lot of things. If you're starting like a startup, like a seed round of investment, or Series A, right? Series B, where you get actual funding from investors. But it could just mean landing that next client. They're your investor. They're investing into you. Yes, you're doing work for them, but like they're investing into you over all the other people who do the same kind of work as you do. So having a strong brand is really important, and building that brand up via those stories on social media, by those human empathy posts that you share about your hardships and how you've gotten over them, that makes people like you, right? Like at your core, there should be human connection at the core. And I think that's so important when it comes to landing contracts and things like that. It's what's helped me a lot, just by like being in the right rooms and connecting with people, networking in the right ways. I've created a lot of opportunities for myself. So increasing your brand value, let's talk about it. I'm going to check the chat really quick, see if there's anything there. Okay. No, nothing in the chat right now. Okay. So let's keep going. Play from current slide. Okay. Increasing your brand value. Sell yourself, right? Of course, in a good way, but you have to be able to, you can't be afraid to get out there, right? So I know like COVID happened. We went to online things and remote work, online networking events, which of course you can still attend. It's great. You can share your LinkedIn, connect with everyone, and then reach out personally. But like, get out there in person, go to your tech events, go to whatever events that, like whatever world you want to be in. This is not only tech. So say you want to be, for me, like in the art world, in the music world. I'm looking up music events, on social media, on music venues that I know, seeing what's going on, watching other musicians, posts and stories to see what's going on, like joining creative clubs, stuff like that. It's a world I want to be in. And so I put myself there, and I am able to connect with people in that way and like sell myself of sorts, right? So like how to sell yourself. 1, be authentic. So 22% of consumers say authenticity is the most important brand attribute. And while I'm reading this, I want you to drop in the chat, what do you think is most important as far as brand attribute? Authentic, trustworthy, or creative? 31% of consumers say that trustworthiness is the most important brand attribute. And then 29% say creativity is the most important brand attribute. What do you think? What is the most important brand attribute when it comes to selling yourself? Authenticity. Okay. Got one for authenticity. Trustworthy, honesty, trust. Trust and authenticity. Yeah, everyone who's responding, I agree with both of you. I think it's both, all of you. I mean, I think it is both of those things. All right, let's see. With trust in the digital market, especially if you're getting going, creativity, no one will want to even talk to you unless your work is good enough. Okay, being creative can make me stand out, but being trustworthy can make people come back. Both go hand in hand. You don't start off with anyone's trust. Lots of good points here. So what I will say is that I think I think they're all important, but I think authenticity and trustworthiness are important all around in all industries. I don't think that being creative is important for every industry. So I will say, like, look at big pharma. Look at industries like, I don't know, insurance, maybe some or finance, some like more, for lack of better words, like traditional industries. Like I'm in finance. It's not as exciting as other industries. It's like older industries, government, like contracts and stuff. You don't really need creativity there, but you do need trustworthiness and authenticity. So I think it depends on the industry. Creativity is, of course, super, super helpful, especially in a landscape like the one that we're in now, right? Like with jobs and the market and people finding work and things like that. And especially if you're trying to create a brand where you are selling yourself and you want to sell yourself as a designer, yeah, creativity is super important. But they all factor in, and it depends on the industry, I would say is my answer. But you can see here, I think that kind of aligns with what we're saying. All right. Okay, so this happened a long time ago now. But on the left, do you remember like when you couldn't hide your likes on Instagram? I know Instagram is like not one of the biggest platforms anymore. It's still my choice platform. I know like TikTok has taken over in many ways, but remember on the left when you didn't have the option to hide your likes, and then people Instagram started rolling out some like A/B testing on hiding the likes, right on the right. Um, and on the left hand side, when influencers were really big on Instagram, I mean, they still are, but like when the likes really mattered, um, and the photos that people would post, you know, it the likes mattered and helped to decide on photos that people would post is what I'm trying to say. I got it out. Versus like on the right, maybe like the photo is, I don't know, hiding somebody's face, like a little bit more creative and artistic. And the like count is gone, right? So like what's different here is authenticity. So people aren't necessarily looking for all of that validation, all of that feedback. Getting one like versus getting 345 on this picture. So this changed a lot of things with, the storytelling when it comes to like influencers and all of that and engagement and the way the algorithm worked. So storytelling goes a long way, right? Personal branding goes a long way, but tech can play into it and can kind of change the way that you tell your story. So this is a reason why Instagram did this, right? So to focus on the videos and photos that you get to share, not how many likes they get. And it's about creating a less pressurized environment where people feel comfortable expressing themselves. I will definitely say that I was a person who really cared about that. Like at one point in life, I don't anymore, but when I was younger and really more Instagram heavy, I cared. Like I cared about how many likes I got and things like that. And maybe I wouldn't share a picture because I didn't think it would get a lot of likes. And it was definitely a mind game when things were like that. But I've grown and it's not important to me anymore. But I do like that Instagram went into this model of creating a less pressurized environment where people feel comfortable expressing themselves, because that is what I think that's what the app intended to be. Things had changed, like I remember when they threw the shop in there and it replaced some other things that were on there. And at that point, I think a lot of people started moving to other platforms. But I did like this move because it just allowed people to tell their stories more, to be more authentic, to be more trustworthy, to be more creative, right? To sell themselves more authentically in a way that made sense for them and not worrying about all of those likes, aka external validation. So to sell yourself, be kind, right? There's a lot of negativity, mean people in the world. We don't need any more of that. So just be kind. Like it doesn't cost you anything to be kind. Be positive, right? There's a lot of negative Nancys out there, negative Nelsons. Just be a positive person. Like if you don't have anything nice to say, just don't say it. Go journal about it at home. Be a positive person when you're out there, or at least a realistic person. Especially when you're out there selling yourself online or at an event. So be inspirational, right? Like share your wins, share your greatness. Everybody has greatness in them. I know you've done at least one thing in your life that has been inspirational to others, and you never know what would be inspirational to others, right? Like you waking up today and, I don't know, going to work out. That could be really inspirational to someone who's maybe having trouble with that, or you eating the healthy thing instead of eating something that's maybe, really high in sugars, like not natural sugars, like sugar additives and things like that. Maybe that's really inspirational to someone. So share those things, right? Sell yourself, sell your inspiration, the goodness that you've done, and then just be relatable, right? So make sure you find things to relate to others on. So talking about something that is maybe really left field for a lot of people and they can't connect to it. Like, I'm trying to think of something that maybe we all don't know a lot about. something probably really scientific or something, some maybe like medical jargon, right? I don't know that much medical jargon. So maybe that's not so relatable, like to people in the tech field. Maybe that's super relatable in medicine. So just like be realistic when it comes to that stuff. So be relatable. Fail forward, fail fast. I love this slide. All right. So many famous failures out there, so many. And like, look what they became, right? So first, let me start off with let go of fear. Fear is like the unknown. This is even tough for me sometimes still. I still get imposter syndrome. I still doubt myself sometimes. But getting comfortable with the uncomfortable is really, really important because that's where you grow. You know, comfort is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. So fail forward and fail fast and try again. So let's look at some of these famous failures. Michael Jordan, he was kicked off his high school basketball team, right? And like, look at the legend that he became. Albert Einstein wasn't able to speak till he was almost 4 years old. His teachers doubted him, right? One of the brightest minds of our time. Walt Disney, fired from a newspaper. He lacked imagination. He didn't have really original ideas. And like, now look at that conglomerate that they've built all over the world. It's incredible. Steve Jobs, rest in peace. At 30 years old, he was devastated and depressed after being removed from the company that he started. And, you know, he went on to create Apple with his business partner and, you know, created such a legacy on the world. Oprah, demoted from her job as a news anchor because she wasn't fit for television, and now she like has her own network. You know, she wasn't stopping. The Beatles, rejected, I don't know how many times, hundreds of times by different recording studios saying they don't like the sound, they have no future in show business. Yeah, well, you're going to get 100 no's before you get a yes. And I can tell you how many times this happened to me, especially in music. It's a really hard industry. But if you've never failed, you've never tried anything new, right? So like a lot of times you'll fail, keep failing, and you get a lot better and at things. And then at some point, either you'll believe in yourself fully enough to just keep going and you'll attract the right people around you, or someone will see that little spark in you and they will believe in you and give you a shot. So I feel like I've just been here so many times. So get uncomfortable. Build relationships. Oh my goodness, so important. Okay, this one is huge. So more business decisions occur over lunch and dinner than at any other time, yet no MBA courses are given on the subject. So this is a quote from Peter Drucker, great businessman. So let's think about this. Why are more business decisions occurring over lunch and dinner than at any other time? Because the place where people connect is like in the kitchen, quote unquote, right? Like where the food is made, because we're connecting over something that we need, right? We need nourishment. We need food. You're able to kind of be in a more relaxed mode when you are in the kitchen cooking or, you know, waiting for a meal. Let's assume you're not hangry. I get hangry. I'm not relaxed when I'm hangry. But, you know, you're in this different mindset, different state of mind. And you can just connect with another person much, much easier, right? Like kind of outside of business, connecting on a different level. And you're building a relationship and rapport with that person. And that makes them start to realize who you are and decide if they like you or not like you. And if they want to do business with you, if they see that the relationship is fit for that. So this is really, really important. Building relationships, right? So mentors, one, you become who you surround yourself with. I have mentors like for everything. Financial, like mental, spiritual, emotional, physical, like I have all these kind of things, right? So like mentors for me is like a trainers in the gym, right? That I can ask questions to, that I attend classes with. A financial advisor, right? Financial. Like mental and emotional is like I have like a Reiki master that I see, and like I've been to various therapies in the past because there's things I had to grow from and traumas that I had to heal from, and like no shame in that at all. I think it's great. I suggest it to everyone. Everyone has traumas. We don't all understand psychology, but those people do. They're there to help us. So having mentors in all of those and all of those things. In music, the first band I was in, I was like in my early 20s, I don't know, 21, 22, and I tried out for a band of, it was a Steely Dan cover band. I didn't know any Steely Dan cover, like music. I come from like R&B and soul music. And all of these guys in this band were like 60 plus years old, and they needed a singer. And like it was, I'm a singer, by the way, as when I say musician. And these guys became my mentors because I was new to the stage, you know, like when it came to that entertainment world. And I had just many mentors over the years that I could ask questions to. Building relationships, another part of it is rapport. So your richest tongue twister. Okay, your richest resources are in your richest relationships. So you really don't know who Joe might know, right? So like you might walk into a room and maybe there's no big sharks in the room, right? Maybe they're all fish, but one of those fish might know the big shark that you need to meet to expand your career or take it to the next level. Like you just never know who you're going to meet. There's this idea called, I don't know, if it's 6 or 7 degrees of separation, right? Where you're all like 6 or 7 relationships away from someone that you know or the relationship that you need. So building rapport is really important because it's also like, say you know someone who might know your next client. Hey, can you refer me to this? Hey, can you refer me to that? That's how I've gotten a lot of jobs, by just knowing people and asking for a referral. It's really important, especially in the market. And then learn, reiterate what others are talking about. This is how I got my first contract as when I was still in UX design school. So I had a guest speaker. My cohort was bigger. It was like, at the time, it was in person. It was like maybe 22 people. There was only like really 2 of us just paying attention. Everyone else was not paying attention to this speaker. And I was paying attention. I was taking notes. I was asking questions. I ended up writing a post about him on LinkedIn about what I've learned and like giving him his praises, right? Everyone likes to hear good things about themselves. And I made it public. And he reached out to me. He said, hey, Emily, you know, I think I have some work for you. And so my first contract, as, you know, someone who wanted to do freelancing, and I also came from like marketing. I was a content marketing manager at this time in my life. And the contract was with Adobe. So my first contract was with Adobe Education Exchange, it was called. And I was like just making some content for them. Wasn't totally UX related, but I got this because I learned what someone else was saying, reiterated it publicly, gave him his praises, and he reached out to me. And that's how that happened. So especially like when you're networking, it's great if you're at an event and I don't know, you talk to Bob about his red sweater and what you learned about his red sweater, you know, it's Egyptian cotton, 1 million thread count, whatever it is. And you connect with Bob on LinkedIn and say, hey, Bob, it was great to meet you. I loved learning about your Egyptian cotton sweater with 1 million thread counts. You know, can't wait to see you at the next event or something. So like you're reiterating what you talked about. It shows that you're paying attention. And then networking and community. So your network is who you know. Your reputation is who knows you. So you might not know that you walk into a room and everyone knows who you are, but that's your reputation, right? Like you might not know all these people, but they've heard of you. You know, they've heard about the work that you did with so-and-so company. They've heard about the music that you made with so-and-so producer or band. And you just never know. But reputation is big. And then set yourself apart. All right, so find a focus, right? So find something that you want to focus on. Find your niche, whatever that might be for you. So for me, it took a couple years for me to realize that I did not want to do design work anymore. I wanted to focus on research and strategy and like mentoring and education and like speaking. That was really my strong point. And I started focusing on that and I wanted to find contracts in that. Have a presence, right? When you go into a room, have your business card, whether it's physical or digital, ready. Go talk to people. You're just human beings. Go up to someone, compliment them. Like it's not that difficult. Even if you're an introvert, you know, you can set a goal of saying, hey, I'm going to make 3 connections. I'm going to give out 3 business cards. I'm going to talk to 3 people and I'm going to get the heck out of there. But at least you are going and trying, right? So have a presence. Just introduce yourself, meet everyone in the room, connect with those people. Like you just never know. Choose a color. So brand color is really important. Mine is obviously like orange or mango. And we'll get a little bit into like color theory. We have some time. But the way that I chose this color was I went around and I asked my cohort when I was in design school, I was like, hey, what colors do I remind you of? Like, you know me now for X many weeks. What colors am I? And it was like yellow and orange. Most people chose yellow and orange. So yellow became my like music brand color, and orange is my professional brand color. So again, you could test that out with people. See what color they think you are. And then share your brilliance. Like, a lot of things that a lot of other people don't know. You know how to do things in a way that other people don't know. Like, you're here for a reason. You do things your way, and that's brilliant. That's important. So share that. Share those things that you've learned, because that will attract other people to you. They'll find inspiration in that, and they'll see that presence based on the brilliance that you have shared. So don't be afraid to share who you are. Do it in the right way, though. Remember, like, don't be too egotistical, and also don't be too humble or have too much. Humility is great, but like, just do it in the right way. Don't be too boastful, I guess, is a way to do it, because sometimes when people come across boastful, I feel like most of us have probably dealt with that in our lives. Maybe it can turn people off. So, of course, you can't please everyone, but share your brilliance in the right way. Positive, kind, and professional. All right, so let's look at some brand colors. Actually, let me check the chat real quick. Okay, Tony said, wow. All right, we will all be posting on LinkedIn after this. Thanking Emily. Thanks, Daisy. Yeah, I'll drop LinkedIn's in the chat. Start connecting with each other. Drop LinkedIn's in the chat. All right, I'll drop mine in the chat as well. Happy to connect with all of you. So 80% of people will recognize a brand because of the brand color. So look at these, right? Some of these brands have changed. The colors have changed, and some I think don't connect. Like if you look at peaceful and growth and health, you have like Monster Energy. Not so much, right? Probably not that good for you. But these are what brand colors are supposed to emulate, right? So color theory is super interesting. I recommend you read a little bit more on it, and like how colors are supposed to make you feel. So I won't get too into this. I just want to make sure we have time to do everything. But you can use this kind of chart to start deciding on what colors that you might want to use for your brand. Excuse me. So this is from a newsletter called The Hustle. I used to read it all the time. It's like a business newsletter. And this was a breakdown of the most popular single colors included in trademarks. So blue and red / pink were up there, about even when this came out. And yellow and gold and green were pretty tied, orange. And then at the very bottom, you had brown, right? So not too many big brands are using brown. There's just like a couple I'm sure you can think of off the top of your head. So like UPS, Hershey's, like some other candies like M&Ms. I don't know if that's like Hershey's or like who owns them, Mars. I'm not sure, but you have a couple companies using brown, but it's not very big. So you can think about this as well when you think about what industry you're going to be in. I'm sure it's like design, so I don't know that it matters so much here. But like, for example, a lot of blue is like healthcare. If you have thought about healthcare, maybe you see like blue logos. A lot of green is like banks. You see like banks and finance in green. You also see blue. I mean, it's not always, but it's like a lot of the time you see that. So like, what kind of brands are you seeing with what colors? Like a lot of the auto stores are like red or yellow. So there's different colors for different industries too. And these are some trademark colors. So it is quite difficult to get the trademark on a color. You don't have to do this unless you plan on building a really big company and you have your own color. But you can see like UPS brown is on there, Louboutin red, Coca-Cola red, different reds, Cadbury purple, the candy, Barbie pink, Tiffany blue, things like that. So it's not easy to get this, but it is possible. Funny story about T-Mobile Magenta. There was a company in Germany, and it was like a telecommunications, like small company, using a color that was very close to T-Mobile Magenta, and T-Mobile sent them a cease and desist, and so they had to stop using the color. And so I do think the company had to change their brand colors because like this is a serious thing, even though the trademark, I don't know that trademarks are worldwide. And I don't know that T-Mobile is worldwide. I think they just might share like other cell phone services. I'm really not sure how it works, but that was interesting. And I like to share that tidbit. All right, and be consistent. So 23% of revenue increase due to consistent branding across all channels. And 90% of users expect to have the same branding across all platforms and channels, right? So be consistent in your posting, in your going out to events, like if you're going to post, if your brand color is blue, it should be blue everywhere. It shouldn't be blue on one social and pink on another. So just be consistent with your brand colors. Also, if you have a campaign going on, like your campaign should be the same everywhere. So it should be the same on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook banner, on the bus, on the bench at the bus stop, like on the billboard. It should be the same so people can start recognizing it and realizing that it's all from the same branding, right? It starts to trigger in their mind, oh, like I know that. I've seen that before. I've seen that face before, or those colors before, or that slogan before. So just be consistent in your branding. And then your brand values impact. So your personal brand's impact. You lead more, you learn more, and then you earn more. So if you continue to lead, you continue to build that story, share your brilliance, be inspirational, connect with people, improve or just establish your reputation in your network, your credibility, trustworthiness, authenticity, creativity, all of those things, right? Leading more, networking, building those relationships. It's not even leading others. It's just like kind of leading yourself to get to the place where you want to be, right? Then you learn more because you are connecting with new people. You're having new opportunities, maybe new contracts. You are being able to learn more about everything. And then you earn more, right? So you're able to then increase your credibility, get a better list of clients, and ask for more money, give yourself a raise if you're like a freelancer asking for an hourly rate. So all of this, you're able to grow, right? By establishing your personal brand, because you just become more known, more credible, and then you can request more compensation. Or if you're like working a contract, you can ask for paid time off or something like that, if that's not in your contract. So you can do these kind of things by just showing up and proving. So I want to end this with, again, asking you, what's your story, right? Start thinking about it, start writing it down, use ChatGPT to help you connect the dots. And remember, you can only connect the dots looking backwards. So like where you are now is because of everything that's happened before. So I very much believe that everything that happens is meant to happen. And just start thinking about that. What's your story? What can you share? What are you ready to share? Maybe what might you want to share in a year from now that you're not ready to share now? Just like start getting it down. It's going to help you start building that brand, coming up with slogans, things like that. And maybe colors, right? Maybe colors are weaving throughout your story too. And that's what I have. So these are my emails here. This is actually wrong. My site is emilycleary.com, not .co. So yeah, I was able to update it, but everyone's dropping their LinkedIn. Okay, awesome. So yeah, drop your LinkedIn, ways to connect in the chat. I'll drop my LinkedIn here as well. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask. We do have a couple minutes, or if anyone wants to try that story writing exercise, feel free to start writing the story in the chat, whatever that is. Someone to start the story. And then we can all finish it, see what we come up with. It's always fun. to see what people come up with. All right, I see we have some questions coming in. Okay, I am clicking on everyone's LinkedIn that has dropped it, so I will be connecting with you all. Okay. And then I'm going to get to the questions. All right. So everyone who's dropped a LinkedIn, I've clicked on it. I'm going to connect with you if you haven't connected with me. All right. Afra, networking question. I've recently been connected with someone who's working for my dream company, and they've agreed to have a coffee chat with me. While I'm really excited to learn more, I don't want to miss the opportunity to get a job referral. What's the best way about having that type of conversation? Okay, so how do you know this person? Did you meet this person through someone that you know already, or was this kind of random? Like, how did you meet them? Because I would think that probably it might help me understand the way you can approach it. Okay, so you have you have a relationship in common. So I think you could definitely bring up. We have this tour. I don't know. Let's call her Jane. Jane is awesome. She's really helped me with this, and that. Maybe you could ask her what's the role she's played in your life. So you can start connecting on your mentor, and just say that you're thankful to have been connected to her. To the person through Jane. And let's see. How did you approach this person? Do they know that this is your dream company? It seems like they do, based on what you wrote here. You're excited to learn more. They know. Okay. So I would say connect on the mentor, and then, say that, just ask them about the culture, some questions that you would have about the company. You can start asking about that. Also do your due diligence. So ask, oh my goodness, I'm sorry, I can't speak. Look and see if there's roles there that you want right now. So do your due diligence and see what's available right now, so you can have that ready. Be like, yeah, I've looked into these roles. I see this, this is available, this is not available, or whatever. And maybe you could talk about that. Maybe they might have insights, they might not. I would almost set it up in a way where they try and offer you a referral. But I think you really have to feel out the conversation. After connecting on something that's human, maybe just try and focus it on connecting with them as a human first, and not making it all about work and asking for a referral. They don't really know you, so they have to know you a little bit more and understand if you're credible or not. So you can just kind of focus on that. Maybe be like, I'd love to share some of my experiences with you, some of my work with you. You do work at a company that I'd love to work at. I ideally, you can even be honest. Ideally, I would like to ask for a referral, but I almost don't feel comfortable because you don't know me, and I wouldn't want to have you feel pressured about that or something like that. So come off in that kind of way where you're really aware, and see if you can build a relationship. And then at some point you ask for a referral, or see if they're willing to give it to you. That's kind of how I would go about it. I would also ask ChatGPT the same question, see what ChatGPT says. All right. Okay, Denise. I stopped my career for 2 years to provide care to my parents. Both had cancer. My mom passed away, which made it possible for me to come back, specializing in UX design. I'm so sorry to hear that. No company hires me for lack of experience, even junior internships. Should I share my story to recruiters to create empathy when they ask my gap? I'm afraid to overshare, being honest. I don't know that I can answer that question. I'm not I don't hire people, and I'm not a recruiter. I'm not a career coach, so I honestly don't know. I would say that if people ask, why is there a gap? Well, I was a caregiver for my parents. Like, you can be honest about that. But I think that's really more of a question for like, for a career placement professional. I would say, like, if you're working with a recruiter that can place you in companies, yeah. But like, if maybe not with like the person that you're interviewing with. So I hope that helps. I would also I use ChatGPT for everything. Drop it in ChatGPT, see what they say, or just connect with some recruiters and ask them. I think that would be a better way to go about it. I don't want to steer you in the wrong direction. Manasi, very awkward in front of camera. I don't like taking my own pictures. And divided opinion about having your photo in your portfolio. What's your take on this? I have a photo on my portfolio. It's of me exploring. It's like the back. It's just like I have a jacket on. I'm like looking out into the sea. So it's like not a photo of my face, but I have a photo there. And I have like a little on my resume, like a little doodle. Excuse me, that one of the companies I worked at drew for me, because we all had little doodles drawn for us at this company. So I have that on my resume to make it stick out a little bit. I would say you could have something in your portfolio. If you don't want something with your face, just do like a photo of you, I don't know, looking into the forest or something on the beach. So I think that's fine. And then if you're awkward in front of the camera, practice. So like practice until you feel like you've conquered that. I remember, like, as a musician, the first photo shoot I ever did, I cried in front of the camera. I cried in the front of the photographer at the studio. I was deathly afraid. But I was like, I want to sing. I love to sing. It's what I want to do. And I had to just get uncomfortable and like do more photo shoots, go out to more events on my own, sing at more open mics. And eventually, you get better at it. So I would say just challenge yourself to get better at that. Do you have any advice on how to work up the courage to be vulnerable? You should watch the Brene Brown special on vulnerability. Just here's Brene Brown. Look up Brene Brown and type vulnerability, and like it should come up. It's like I don't know if it was a TED Talk or like a special that she did, but you'll be able to find it. I thought that was great. And it was so inspirational for me. So do that, look that up, and maybe that might give you some inspiration. I also saw someone ask if I'm sharing this document. I'm not sharing it, but this is recorded and it will be up on Designlab's YouTube. So you'll be able to find it there. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all coming. Remember to all connect on LinkedIn. You never know who might know the next person that you need to meet. So I appreciate everyone's time today. Thank you so much.